horrific story out of Chicago. A man with a long, violent criminal history is facing a terrorism charge after police say he set a woman on fire on a train. Shanley Painter joins us now with more. And Shanley, we saw this take place in New York and now Chicago.
Right, Carly. So police say the 26-year-old victim was riding the Blue Line train in Chicago around 9 p.m. when this man, 50-year-old Lawrence Reed, allegedly approached her from behind, removed the cap from a bottle of liquid, and then poured it all over the victim's head and body. The woman attempted to fight off Reed, and then she ran, but Reed eventually caught up with her. Police say that after igniting the bottle and then he dropped it, he used it to ignite the bottle and then set the victim on fire. Now, according to the complaint, surveillance footage showed the woman's body engulfed in flames, and then when she tried to extinguish it, she was rolling on the ground, and then she gets off the train at the next stop but collapses. Police say she was taken to the hospital and is still in critical condition. Reed allegedly walked away from the scene, but federal investigators caught up with him the next morning wearing the same clothes, and he had burn injuries on his right hand. They say Reed bought the gasoline about 20 minutes before the attack. Reed faces a charge of committing a terrorist act against a mass transportation system. Federal prosecutors saying this, quote, "This horrific attack was not just a barbaric assault on an innocent woman riding a train, but an act of terrorism that strikes at the core of our American way of life."
Wow, this is insane. So the dichotomy of this is really, this is a preconceived crime, or what do they call it? Premeditated. This is it's premeditated, but it's random at the same time. And what I mean by that is it's premeditated 20 minutes prior to the crime, as far as what we can actually go back and have evidence to show. But at the same time, it's random because it seems like it didn't matter who it was going to be. He was just going to look until he found a victim for whatever the reason is in his mind that he wanted to victimize somebody. And pretty much, if he found his ideal victim, then he was just going to go with his plan. Maybe he would have went from bus to bus, from train to train. But this is insane. I've got some other things I want to share, but I want to get a little bit more of the story. Now she's in critical condition.
The U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago, together with our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, will take immediate and resolute action to bring swift justice to the victim. Prosecutors also confirming that Reed has an extensive criminal history,
Is this the
including a
dude?
previous aggravated arson charge with connection to a fire in 2020. And if convicted, Reed faces up to life in prison. Todd, over to you.
Shanley, thank you. Let's bring in criminal defense.
Listen. So look at this dude right here. Look at this dude right here. Right? The history, he's been looking crazy all his life. Now, this only goes back about 5 years. But in every single one of these pictures that pretty much is spaced out years in between, this dude been looking crazy. This been looking like somebody that when you see him walk in your vicinity, it should flag in your mind to watch him. It always surprises me how comfortable people are in today's day and age on public transportation. Let me tell you this, right? I used to take the public transit, and this probably goes back maybe, let's just say 10 years ago when I was taking public transportation. And I used to take it a lot. And I would say back in those days, it had potential to be dangerous, but for the most part, it wasn't dangerous. You would just see some wild stuff. You might see somebody butt naked walking on the train, right? It was possible. It was funny. Like maybe 1 or 2 years ago, I was like, man, I want to take the public transit just for the pure nostalgia. And then it hit me, and I had to remember what day, age, and time this is. And the fact that within that decade to 5 years, the level of crazy has far exceeded what it was 10 years ago. as well as the culture of degeneracy. And, you know, criminality has been glorified. Glorified. These like, it's people now openly will walk the streets with ski masks on. People now will walk into a store with a ski mask on. It is normal. So that's what let me know that, oh no, there's a different type of mentality. And I caught myself and I said, bro, you are not in that place. Why would you even put yourself in that position for something crazy to happen to where now I gotta handle my business? Or, I'm not Superman. Shoot, I can get victimized, right? It just doesn't make sense. So I said, man, after nostalgia, it's not worth the risk. I had to be smart about it. So now, as a young lady, I'm not victim shaming, but you really have to watch your surroundings. You cannot be in your little ear pods on your phone, watching your podcast. Man, you need to have that head on a swivel. So that if you are in my legion, if you're one of my subscribers, part of the family, man, and you take public transportation, anybody can take public transportation. It doesn't mean anything as far as like what you make. There's plenty of business people that take public transportation, but just in general, man, just keep your head on a swivel. Don't get too lost in that smartphone, man, because you see this. There was another story, and I think they even mentioned it here, where somebody got lit on fire just recently, or I think the guy stabbed the girl. Right? It's too many stories these days, and that's why I had to like remember. I'm like, why would you do that? But let's get back into the story.
Arson charge with connection to a fire in 2020, and if convicted, Reed faces up to life in prison. Todd, over to you.
Chanley, thank you. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and Fox News contributor Donna Rotunno. Donna, if blue states like Illinois continue to allow career criminals like this back out on the streets to terrorize communities, don't we need more creative prosecutions like this? The federal government saying we're going to take the lead here and use something as what I would call unique as this mass transit hook.
Absolutely. First of all, this is a horrific crime, and my heart goes out to this poor woman on this train. I mean, you're living your life, you're going through your life, and then this happens to you. It's absolutely horrific. I live in Chicago, so this story really speaks to me. I'm very, very confident in the federal government in terms of taking this over and doing the right thing. I think that they've charged him as most significantly as they can, and hopefully it will be beneficial to the victim.
So under the Trump DOJ, you would expect to see more of these federal prosecutions when the state, quite frankly, gives up.
I would, and I will say that especially in Chicago, we have had a new state's attorney for several months now, and that we are seeing.
So they're getting more into the political aspect. I didn't realize this was in Chicago too. But I mean, regardless of where you stand on that, how crazy would it have been? Because their talking point right here is that, you know, in some states, people are committing heinous crimes like this and then getting released back on the street. How crazy would that be if a dude can light a 26-year-old with her whole life ahead of her on fire and then be released a week later? I mean, I don't know I get what they're saying for smaller crimes, how people get released in certain states, but I don't know if people are doing things like this getting released. And if that is the case, somebody in the comment section enlighten me. If that is the case, then that is insane. Utterly insane. Let's skip ahead a little bit. See if they have anything else on the story.
Brother, we are living in a nightmare. The FBI has kept us in the dark, never contacted us. The Kepners haven't told us anything. We've learned from Facebook posts that the stepson is a suspect. That's what reports are saying as well. At this point, Donna, what do prosecutors
Okay, so they're digging into a whole nother story. But I mean, that was crazy. I mean, this dude, I honestly, I get so they're correlating. I think that's what they were doing. They're correlating the fact that he's had such a history because you can see he's got a mugshot for every year, like a graduation picture. They're correlating the fact that This dude gets arrested so much and he keeps getting let out. And now, because you keep letting him out and he's never taken responsibility for his previous actions, now this dude has tried to, I mean, he attempted to murder somebody with their whole life ahead of them. And now he's being held responsible. But I guess what they're trying to say is that he should have been held more responsible before, and then this would have never happened. And I'd like to agree with that, but I'd have to know more about the history, his previous history, and if it was other violent things. But yeah, I mean, look, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2024. We don't know which crimes he's committing in these years, but I would, if they are similar or whatever, right? I don't think it's that hard to stay out of trouble. So if you just keep committing crimes year after year, it needs to be jumping, right? 2020 to 2021, you committed a crime, you got released. You commit another crime in 2021, you get released. I'd like to see these be getting spaced out a little bit more, depending on the severity of the crime, because I don't know. But it definitely needs to like flag something that, okay, this dude, he, like I said, it's not that hard to stay out of trouble. People make it seem like it's this hard thing. It ain't that hard. But we'll leave it there. Also, subscribe if you want to join the Legion. Cash App link below. If you want to buy your boy iced coffee, tip the channel. And also feel free to join the Patreon where I post self-improvement content. Until then, I will catch you guys in the next video.